Whether you have sight or not, I see the future in your eyes, writes J.R. Ward. Sometimes it's our fear of the future that comes back to haunt us. And so, once upon a time. Paulo fell in love with her the moment he looked into her beautiful violet eyes. Her designer scarf fluttering in the cold Venetian wind, hiding her eyes now and then. The Rialto bridge across the Canale Grande was where she smiled at him and said, "Professor Paolo Santini, my name is Laura, and I have come a long way to study the art which you have blessed the world with." He welcomed her into his art studio and into his world. It was a time when the whispers of a revolution were getting louder. The people were slowly but with certainty moving against the political class. Shadows of coming unrest were growing larger. But Paolo did not care. For him it was his art and Laura. And one day, he saw a letter that Laura had forgotten to put away. A letter about him, addressed to no one in particular. It lay in the top drawer of the dresser in her bedroom. It read, "He's in love with me, I can see. He comes here every day. Now he has begun to sleep here as well. More later." He was heartbroken. She was obviously on a mission. She was not in love with him. He was just a job, an assignment. But he had to know who had put her up to this. The next day, as she went into the shower, he saw the letter was gone. But there was a new one in its place. It read, "I still have no idea what could have happened. Seems like a blur. We have only 2 weeks. Await further instructions." What the hell was going on? What did she mean by no idea what could have happened? He decided that he wasn't going anywhere. He would stay right there near the dresser. She would have to take the letter out and at some point deliver it to someone. That was the only way of getting answers. He waited all day. She seemed to be at ease, not like she was in a hurry to get somewhere. She cooked him a meal, sat holding his hand, read him poems, and then slept on his chest. It was late at night, and he slipped out of bed and opened the drawer. The letter was gone. It had delivered itself. Laura was a light sleeper and woke up to the grating of wood sliding against wood. Paulo felt her eyes staring down his back and turned, ready for the confrontation. "You know, we need to talk." His voice was filled with the pain of betrayal. Laura looked at him for a long while and then jumped out of bed. She grabbed a brush and with a red paint wrote on the canvas that lay on the easel in the corner. "This corner is the blind spot in the room," she wrote. "They cannot see this. Do not ask any more. Do not talk about this. Come to bed and behave normally. I will see you at the Rialto." Paulo looked at her, caught between trust and doubt. Her eyes did the trick again. He crept into bed and she after him, though either slept a wink all night. The next day she met him at the Rialto and wore the very same scarf, the one he had seen on her the first time they met. "You are going to find this hard to believe, but listen to me carefully. The letters I write go to the future. The drawer is what we call a handy portal. It is like a doorway into time, but only for little objects like letters. I come from the future. 20 years from today, where a crisis of unimaginable proportion is taking place, and you are in the center of it. Paulo looked at her like she was on drugs, or then she was probably just plain stupid. She easily inferred that look. I know you don't believe me, and I have no way of proving it either. But 20 years from now, there is a hostage crisis taking place, and you are the revolutionary chief that is holding the entire political class hostage. You and your men have surrounded the parliament of the continent. Paulo gaped wide-eyed like a child watching his first magic show. I'm an artist. Why would I be a revolutionary? That is what I'm here to find out. 2 weeks from now, something happened. Something in your life. No one knows what happened, but everyone knows that it was the event that made you the most dreaded revolutionary of all time. Laura came closer to him and held him. My love for you has been true. I have never lied to you about how I feel, she whispered, a tear rolling down her cheek. They stood in silence for a minute, and then Laura stepped back. This came in from the future this morning when I opened the drawer. Laura held a letter for Paulo to read. It said, "Do not wait to find out what happened to him 2 weeks from now. Just kill him." He looked up at Laura and handed the letter back. Here I am. Kill me now. Though his eyes were brimming with tears, he had a smile on his face. Laura, on the other hand, had no qualms about letting the tears flow. I love you more than I love myself, my country, or then the rotting politicians who are hostages. I would rather kill myself than kill you. So what do we do now? Paulo instantly felt the dread of being watched by unseen eyes. We run. And I know where we can go, Laura said. Where? He inquired. Switzerland. She seemed to have a plan in place already. 20 years from now, all the countries in Europe are a part of the union of the continent, with the exception of Switzerland. They don't have any leverage there, so they cannot see us or hear us. Paulo nodded. Understanding the situation slowly, we have to watch out for the keepers who will be sent from the future the minute they know I do not intend to carry out my orders. And that, in real terms, should be sometime tonight. Laura was beginning to look worried. Keepers? Paulo asked. Assassins. To kill you. She could not look at him as she said that. Paulo nodded. We have less than a day to disappear somewhere in Switzerland. All we have to do is wait out the 2 weeks, because after that, whatever made you a revolutionary would have happened, and the keepers would be useless. Paulo and Laura took the road to Milano and from there to Locarno. The keepers landed late that night. It took them only 2 hours to figure that the couple had planned on Switzerland. Paulo knew a small village by the name of Launen in the Berner Oberland region. For 2 weeks, they staked out a small chalet, not using their cell phones, not showing their faces to anyone in the village, not even stepping out to replenish their rations. 2 weeks passed slowly, sometimes a second at a time. Then on the last day, the keepers found them. Laura was a keeper herself, and she fought the 3 sent by the future like a hardened war veteran. The keepers perished one by one. She pushed Paulo into the car and asked him to drive. She turned around and went for the passenger seat when Keeper T/389 rose with a laser gun. She saw him a little too late. He shot her straight to her heart. Paulo screamed and backed the car into the keeper, killing him instantly. Laura was losing pins of blood a minute. Paulo bundled her into the car and made for Geneva. She was breathing hard, and Paulo asked her to hold on. They would be there soon, Montreal. There was a hospital there. Paulo flew off the exit and onto the country road. It was then that he looked at Laura and found that she had stopped breathing. She was gone. Dead. Paulo sat in the car for a day and a half. Not moving, not crying, just angry. It was then that the future discovered what had happened 2 weeks later. They had sent him the love of his life and then killed her. They had unwittingly engineered the most fearsome revolutionary of all time, Paulo Santini.